5G is mature. It's the fifth generation, 5G, the fifth generation of mobile infrastructures and mobile networks. It already shows its value in so many different industries, even the industries that are at the verge of implementing it. The different layers that the fifth generation of mobile broadband connectivity provides to blend connectivity. For example, the Internet of Things, where narrowband IoT, it's getting a bit technical like this, but nevertheless, where narrowband IoT sits, where Zigbee sits, where RFID tagging sits for valuable assets and asset management for that in buildings and creating smart buildings, are usually separate networks, but the fifth generation of mobile infrastructures can blend it. So that means you don't need different access points, you don't need different radio access networks, you don't need different components for transmission and receiving, because these capabilities are features of the connectivity layer, and not the connectivity layer itself is the feature, if that makes sense, right? So you don't need a separate access point that can only speak sensor technology, and another access point, wireless, that speaks Wi-Fi for you and me in our home environment or office environment, and then somewhere else it speaks another language, and Bluetooth if it needs for this, and Zigbee. Well, Zigbee, Bluetooth, RFID are communication layers, and these layers come with capabilities embedded within a single unit that has different, aggregation levels. That's where fifth generation of mobile infrastructure sits. AI sits where it comes to a better managing of all that, a blending of all these services, and helping the IT management team, systems administrators, and computing science engineers and what have you, to help them do better what they already do best, which is manage and maintain all these different pieces of components and networks that become more complex, and that become wider and wider and wider deployed, and more difficult to reach, but still needing to be maintained at the 24/7, 365, all day round capability or uptime. For example, today in the pandemic, where areas of a city, for example, are now being burdened by the fact that people work from home, when this mobile network that needs to cover that was not designed for that, right? The mass capacity and the burden of carrying all these people logging on were we're not at the residential area level or gated communities area or city malls. That was at tech parks and the Fortune 500 companies and what have you. But now it's not. People work from home. Students learn from home. Teachers teach from home. Your kitchen Wi-Fi for a teacher is fine, but if your kids are also home and they're learning, your kitchen Wi-Fi is not even designed for that. So how to embed that, how to arrange it? You need to change your kitchen Wi-Fi. Well, sometimes you don't. With the current standard of AI, with the current standard of the fifth generation of mobile infrastructures, that becomes easier to manage, easier to maintain, and easier to create different workloads and partitions of the network where higher capacity of availability needs to be pre-programmed or pre-configured or redistributed, if that makes a bit of sense. The other side of the spectrum is also the same, where devices like this are logging on to these mobile infrastructures. An application, for example, that we've developed together with other organizations is for children who are deaf. So how do you teach a deaf child at home if it's not able to go to school where a teacher speaks freaking sign language and you don't, or you need to learn it as well? But how do you do that? Well, there is an application called StorySign, which is co-developed with us and with a bunch of other folks, and you can get it from any app store. You can download it on your regular smartphone. It speaks to the lens and the camera of your phone, and it takes pictures from this camera. So it looks in real time to the pages. So this is the page, has text. The camera of your phone looks at that page, translates the text of that page into a little avatar in the corner of the screen that speaks sign language, and the other way around. So you can point this at your kid who speaks sign language, and for you, it then pops up as an avatar that speaks in a regular voice. And when you speak to it, it translates it to sign language for this avatar. If we take a bigger version of this, and we put this in regular video conferencing meeting rooms, for example, a service that you and I are using right now. I am here in Shenzhen, you're in South Africa. We're using a video sharing, video chat, video messaging, video collaboration, video meeting platform. Imagine this is a feature that sits within. We already have a feature that does something with subtitling, right? Closed captioning. Many of these applications have it. You can turn it on, and what it does, it picks up my voice and gives a little subtitle, but it can also be done the other way around. I can speak Dutch, translates into English for you. If you are French, or if you're German, or if you're speaking any other language, any of the South African languages or African languages. It can pick that up. It can translate that into English or Dutch or French, whatever language I prefer. And also as such, it comes out. So social inclusion, digital inclusion, leaving no one behind, bridging a digital gap are core examples of where AI are driving things forward, and where the fifth generation of mobile networks makes it easier to integrate all that and blend all that in a secure and safe manner.